Hello everybody and welcome to my video, Getting Tidier. I hope you're well. This video continues from my last video. So if you haven't already watched last time's video, please do take a look at that and see how I continue on in this video. So I'm really pleased with the end result. Actually, I walked past through the dining room today as I was then going outside and thought, oh, I feel like there's so much more space in here. It's just that initial period where it just feels like it gets worse before it gets better, if you see what I mean. So you can see here, the last video I was doing a lot of sorting out and clearing up in the lounge. So I brought the two boxes in the lounge, sorted through all the felt tips and the pens and crayons and rulers and rubbers. And then I've then gone back into the dining room to see what's left. So I had said to my husband, or can you bring all the pens through, because my daughter was helping a lot, but right at the very back had got quite dusty, and because of her dust allergy I just really didn't want her to do it. So my husband had brought quite a lot through, but by the time I went into the dining room there was still lots, all by the bottom of the radiator that had fallen behind my big box. The other thing you might spot in this video is as I start sorting out the wicker basket, I suddenly pick up one book, and underneath the book is about another 40 pens, pencils, crayons. I was like, oh my goodness, this is never ending. But of course that wicker basket was supposed to be just for my daughter's books, and it has ended up being books as well as you can see all the felt tips and the pens in the corner of the basket. And I thought, oh my goodness, just when I thought that I'd sorted them all. So I've got loads more to do. So you'll watch me sort out this area, tidy the area, clean the area. Obviously I've got some washing there on the radiator. Well, it's been quite warm in England for quite some time. Those things were left on there before we went away on holiday. So I take them off and sort them out. And the whole bit at the back there had got really quite dusty. So I swept and cleaned all of that. You can see the puzzle book, all the pieces of the puzzle have fallen out of the puzzle book. I feel like I can't get rid of the puzzle book yet or put it anywhere because there's a few missing pieces, and I know the missing pieces are in the house somewhere. So by the end of the video I've put back the two boxes and I've got quite a few things that I've put in the wicker basket. I need to go back and still sort some things out because some things have been put in the wicker basket and they don't belong there. That really just needs to be some of the academic textbooks, some of the books from last year, and then a big space ready for September. But at the moment it is still full. I'm not actually that keen on that wicker basket, but it was one that I've got which seems to do the job. As long as I obviously had to insist that my daughter does put her spare books there. Because it did tend to be, well, I guess it's all about getting in the habit, isn't it? And about me and my husband just repeating that same message. Don't forget to put your books in the basket, otherwise they end up all over the table. So I do feel with this area it gets a lot worse before it gets better. But you can see I've got my two bags there as I sort. One bag which is all things to give away, give to charity, give to someone locally in terms of the pens and pencils, and then one bag of rubbish. And then what I do is, you see the little box sort of to the right of the middle, which is the smaller box with all the pens and pencils in. At one point I do say to my daughter, right, we need to get rid of another 20. Because of these extra ones I found, we needed more space, otherwise the lid was not going to shut. My daughter made the good point of say she feels that we've still got too many. And I have to say, I agree with her. It's still going to be hunt for certain things. But we do have a separate pencil and pen pot. So I've put like 4 pencils, which are all sharpened, 4 writing pens, a ruler, a pair of scissors, a rubber and a sharpener in a pot to one side. So you don't have to hunt for anything. So they're readily available. So that's the idea. So I do spend quite a long time on this area. So while you're watching this, I'm just going to go through some of your most recent comments. So the first comment that I just wanted to read through was from Rainey Milliman. Rainey always makes some really helpful comments, and she's commented on one of my most recent videos. So she's put, I think your recent reality check will not only make your life easier, but I think it will also help your channel grow. Well, that'd be good. Don't forget, everybody, when I get to 3,000 followers, I'm doing another giveaway. But I think it will also help. Since my dad passed away, my husband has been getting totes and boxes of my dad's things down from the attic. I go through 3 to 5 boxes and totes every 5 to 7 days. Wow. So you must have a lot of things in the loft then, Rainey, of your dad's. So when you sorted out your dad's possessions and house and everything, a lot of it then obviously went up into the attic. So Rainey either donates, gives to someone else, or throw away. We moved his things here and to my brother's place after he went into assisted living. Oh, I see. My sister-in-law is doing the same thing out there. It's just things and photos. Some photos I kept, the rest I give to my brother, who keeps some and burns the rest. I've also been going through our totes of Halloween and Christmas decorations. Yeah, that makes me think. Good idea. I'm only keeping my true favourites. It's getting harder to put the stuff out and then haul it back inside, or pack up what's in the house and put it away, and my cats get into it so much that I now only put out unbreakable items. I've eliminated 5 totes of Halloween and 2 totes of Christmas. Wow. I'd already donated a lot of the Christmas items because they didn't look right in the older house. I can't look at what it has cost me over the years because it isn't relevant. If I don't use the items and my brother has no interest and my son has too much of his own stuff to declutter. Yeah, exactly, I agree. There's no point thinking about how much it costs in this instance, is it? Because you bought it, you've enjoyed it, and now it's time to let go. Absolutely think you're right. There were 2 very old advertising card banks that I gave to my son because they were my dad's and his father's before him. And my son is a car guy. He's a mechanic, but also loves car shows. And that's the kind of thing I knew he would want and appreciate. But the rest can go. I certainly don't need my dad's things, and I'm so ready to declutter more of my own things. My reality check came after having to move all of my dad's stuff. And also with my husband having to empty his parents' house during the pandemic. They all had too much stuff, and even though my dad moved less and less every time he relocated, he still hung on to too much stuff. I'm still in the comments section again, so I will stop. But I just wanted to encourage you to hold firm and stick with the new plan. Oh, thank you very, very much. It's great to hear somebody else's experience, what they're going through, the fact that they've got, stuff that they want to get rid of. And then Rainey's also then had things from other people's homes, either in-laws or her own dad. And you can only take so much stuff, can't you? I think I've mentioned on my channel before, when my dad and my dad's partner cleared out his partner's house, and she had got a lot of things, and a lot of actually really quite new things that she'd bought. He brought quite a lot of things here, but he also filled up his own house because they've got their own houses and sort of, go between the 2 houses. So he ended up, his house is not that big, but he ended up taking boxes and boxes and bags to his house. He did at one point think about getting one of those yellow storage boxes company, where you can just pay to have items stored. And then he thought, oh no, this is like silly, actually spending money on storing things that we might want to get rid of. He tried to sell some things, but you get a lot on Marketplace. I don't know whether it's the same in other countries, but in England, you get a lot of messages, is this still available? And you message back and say, yes, it's still available. And then you never hear a single thing more. So I think it's really good to get rid of some of these things. I mean, Christmas, I can really relate to this, your comment about Christmas. Last year, I did sort some things out to go to the charity shop. But by the time I then wanted to take them to the charity shop were getting rid of their Christmas displays. And I thought, I can't bear to give these away if they're just going to go in the bin. So when I packed all my Christmas decorations away, I put this bag right at the front. So I know at the end of November, mid-November, I'll open my cupboard where all the Christmas things are, get the bag for charity, I'm going to try not even to look in the bag, and then I can just take it straight to the charity shop. But where your comment has really struck a chord is the fact that there are things that I put out each year at Christmas that I don't really like. And I just think sometimes we do all this by habit. Halloween decorations, we don't have loads, but in the last few years we have gathered more. We've probably got more Easter. Easter is a time that I love. And so I've probably got most Christmas, then second Easter, and then Halloween. What I'm really liking about watching this video back is, I'll be honest with you, the last time I cleared out this corner was whenever that last video was on my channel. I haven't looked it up yet, but that might have been the last time I cleaned in the corner and underneath the radiator behind all the boxes. Might have been, I don't know, 6 months, 5 months. Because that ended up being this massive great pile again, that everything needed to be pulled out. So I'm hoping that when I've got the 2 boxes in the wicker basket, I can easily clean behind it. But what I'm really enjoying with watching the video back is all the stuff that I'm getting rid of and all the stuff that I'm putting in the bin, which I didn't do last time. So I do feel like my mindset is changing in terms of the stuff that I can get rid of. It's also about being realistic. Like, for instance, I said to you before about how my daughter has done a lot of work in the holidays, a lot of academic work in the holidays, and a lot of homework and extra work other than schoolwork. But some of the academic books that we've got left, she's now got this really, really excellent online programme at school, which she's got full access to all the way through the holidays. And that targets certain areas. And although I'm not a lover of lots of screen time, that means that you can, for example, focus on doing algebra. And if you don't understand the question, they've got a video that you can watch that then explains the question. And it also then targets your practice. So if you get lots of answers wrong with negative numbers or adding fractions, they will then recap that. So for her and the level that she's at and the age that she's at, I mean, obviously all maths practice is good, but there's no point me keeping now several maths books. So yeah, there's kind of that sense check as well as to what needs to be kept in the coming year. What is she going to use in the coming year? I like the fact that more and more through the video, the floor becomes clearer and clearer. I found lots of beautiful pictures that I'd taken from holiday magazines from Italy and from Venice for her to do her scrapbooking. But I thought, well, we're not planning on going to Venice anytime soon. Next time we go, I can print some, you can get any pictures now off the internet, can't you, to print off. So again, why am I keeping this in a plastic folder? So I did manage to go through a lot of this and get rid of things. The other thing that I touched on in my last video was I don't want craft sets piled up here. We had got craft items in the dining room, in the lounge, and in the playroom. And like you've all said, and I completely agree, you don't need craft sets in 3 places, do you? So like you've said, putting like with like. And then you can actually see, oh my goodness, look how many craft sets I've got, which is really what I've done with the stationery. By pulling it all together from the drawers in the lounge, from the boxes, from the pencil cases, you really see properly just how much stuff you've got. In a little while, the angle of the video changes, and I think it's quite interesting when you watch like other videos on YouTube, when it looks like it's quite tidy, and then actually everything's piled on the stairs or everything's on the landing, which has definitely happened with me. But the first angle makes it look like the dining room's getting really cleared and sorted. But then I move the angle of the camera a little bit and you can see all the stuff that I've got left to do. But this is all about being real, isn't it? Being realistic. But, I've only been doing this now, a year and a half, haven't I? And I know some of you have been decluttering and sorting and trying to get on top of things for much, much longer than that. So it's not something you can do overnight. So next comment. Michelle Perrier, I hope I've pronounced that correctly, says, are you really that attached to pens and pencils with lots of question marks. So that's an interesting one. No, I'm not attached to all these pens, pencils and crayons, etc. There's a couple of pens there that I don't want to get rid of. So a couple of pens that I can remember getting like on my very first trip to Paris when I was 8 and going up the Eiffel Tower. There's a pencil that I've got which I've had since I was 5. Which I like and don't really want to get rid of. I'm not saying that I'd be deeply distressed if I couldn't find them or didn't ever use them again, but I've got no wish to get rid of them. And probably a handful of other ones that I wouldn't want to get rid of. For example, they're very good quality ones. They've been bought for special occasions, designer, etc. So I wouldn't say that I'm overly attached to any of them. But like what I said back to Michelle, is I really, really dislike waste. And what I mean by that is getting rid of anything that I feel like I could use. So the pens, the pencils, all of those things have got life in them and could be used over the course of the next couple of years. Now, society is such that if I gave that bag to a charity shop, the charity shop would put them all in the bin. That is the reality of our society. Even though they all work, even though they're all fine, they would put them all in the bin. So I don't like that waste. I am genuinely concerned about the things that people put in landfill. Either that, it was in the United Kingdom, or now we're paying money to send it over to some other country and fill some other country full of all of our rubbish. And I feel very much when you hear about some of the schools in Africa that have enough for one pencil each once a year, and they just don't have what we have. I just feel it's really bad. The society we live in is so wasteful. So that's why I feel like if I can give it to a local school group, a toddler group, a charity of some sort, maybe somebody locally that doesn't have the, family and friends that have bought all my daughter these things, and maybe don't have that much money themselves, that they can make use of them. So that's why I don't feel like, for instance, wanting to get rid of loads of biros, loads of blue pens when I write in blue pens. That just, to me, just doesn't make sense. So it's a bit of a long-winded answer to that, but it is really around not liking waste. I don't want to get rid of things that have use left in them, which is why I don't like getting rid of half bottles of shampoo. Because I think they've still got use in that. I just need to use the empty bottles up, the half bottles, use them so they're empty, then get rid of them. So that's how I think about that. Carolyn said I just give them all away and not bother sorting pencils. That's interesting, Carolyn, because I do use pencils a lot. I love writing in pencils. My daughter uses pencils. I regularly look to you to write in a pencil. Obviously not formal documents, but if I get rid of all the pencils, I'm going to be struggling then to find the things that I need to write and sketch, same as my daughter. Emma, if you had to choose which room is closest to being totally decluttered, if you had to choose which room is closest to being totally decluttered. Oh, Carolyn, I haven't got any room that's close to being totally decluttered, have I? I've not got any room that's closest to being totally decluttered. I really haven't. I've done a lot of work in several rooms, but I haven't got one room. Like I said the other day with my lounge, there's things that I'm now looking at in the cabinets that I can get rid of. My daughter said that she's happy to get rid of a few of the pandas. I might struggle with that. I might put them into storage. So there's stuff that I need to do in the lounge, and then all the things with the plants that I want to do. With the dining room, there's things to be sorted. Lots still to do in the kitchen. I'm not sure I can answer that question, Carolyn. I'm sorry. I think you've considered moving that little table by the front door. So the really small table was given to me by my mother-in-law, and I think belonged to her great aunt. So I paid for the little cover to go over it, which matches with the curtain. That doesn't really take up much space. I do need to stop dumping random things on it. But the table on the other side is a vintage table. And I bought that for £1 from a car boot sale with the view to sell it on. And that is a table that I'm going to sell, get rid of. I just need to put it in a really nice position and take a nice photograph of it. Carolyn also says it would be great to swap out that rug. Carolyn, what sort of thing should I replace it with? I do like having a rug in the hall, for a variety of reasons. Sometimes people don't take their shoes off and they'll walk into the house a bit, and then I'll say, oh, do you mind taking your shoes off, please? So that rug is quite useful for that. So I'm not quite sure what I'll do with that. Would like to get like a runner, but I'm just ready to change that. I have had that probably for 12 years, 11 years. It's done a good job, but I'm ready to change things. Carolyn also said, yay, you're home. I'm really pleased to be home, Carolyn. We had a fantastic time, but it is true, isn't it? There's no place like home. I do love coming home, and that has given me new motivation. Quite a few people have said, oh, you're really enthusiastic, you're really enthused to get more done, and I am. Brett said, I call what you're speaking about with the tidying domino effect for each room, if you give a mouse a cookie tidying issue. Sometimes it feels a lot more dependent on other rooms or things to finish one room. Yeah, I know, it's interesting, isn't it? When you watch various YouTubers and how they tidy, I think it's quite difficult when you've got a mess and clutter to stay focused, because you start on focusing in one area, but then to get that area sorted, you then put something away in another room, and then you get to another room. I know I've talked about this many times, but you get to the other room and then realise that drawer needs to get sorted out. So you start working on that drawer, and then you realise that there's felt tips in that drawer which belong in the dining room. So you take the felt tips to the dining room, and the dining room, do you get what I mean? And it goes on forever. And I think some people will be probably better at staying focused to the original task and not getting distracted. Shannon White, thank you, Shannon, for your comments. Not heard from you recently, so thank you for your comment. I too love stationery, all the colours and different feels of pencils and felt tips. Don't get me started on notepads, books and file folders. I absolutely couldn't wait for school in the fall because we all got new supplies. Packing my book bag and writing my name in all my notebooks and folders was so fun. I loved to do it for my girls when they were little too. When I downsized, I gave a lot of it away to a local nursing home. Oh, that's nice. I was happy to know that it was all going to get used and appreciated. Yeah, absolutely. Good job on letting so much go. Each pass through will get easier and easier. Great video. Keep up the good work. What a fantastic comment, and thank you for sharing that about the stationery. I can remember when I was very young, me and my sister and my mum used to go into the city, and my mum would stand waiting while me and my sister went into this shop called Cards Plus. And upstairs, the shelves, I can still remember it really clearly. The shelves were full of pens, pencils, crayons, rubbers which smelt a certain way. And there was a particular area that I really liked, but there was a couple of rows of all different stationery supplies. And I too loved that time. The feeling of, we always have fantastic summers with my mum. She would take me and my sister all over the place, and we had really lovely summers. But the feeling of, the holidays are over, but the excitement of seeing my friends again and sorting out my pencil case, and I loved all that. And I liked it with all the different rubbers and everything you could get. Nowadays, that's all 10 a penny, isn't it? There's nothing. I can remember that was in the 80s. So in the 80s, it was then all starting to have all these new things and fancy things and stickers. And I did think about you all today. I've got to admit, I didn't buy much on holiday, but we were in the supermarket and my daughter wanted some stickers, and she showed me some frog stickers. And I bought some frog stickers for €1 or 80 cents, just because I liked them. And I got them home and I looked at them and thought, why did I buy them And where am I going to put them? But I did so well because I can't think of it. I think I bought 2 postcards from Rome, which I brought home, and the frog stickers, and that was about it. The wine I bought for other people. I bought very small gifts. I thought I'm going to get consumables. So I bought my mum a jar of mushrooms for her partner. Red garlic is really special and renowned within Abruzzo, so I bought some red garlic and a soap. My sister got the red garlic and a soap, and my dad got a bottle of wine and some garlic. And the bottle of wine, I said to him, I really want to know what this tastes like, because it was their wine. It's just really very nice and so much better than the wine really we have in England. But this bottle of wine was €2. So that was why I was intrigued to know what it tastes like. Yeah, so I didn't buy much, and my daughter bought one little ornament from the Vatican City shop, and it was of Mary and Joseph and baby Jesus, so it was very, very small. So we didn't buy much, but yeah, my frog stickers, I liked them, but afterwards I thought, why have I bought them? But I'm getting better. I'm not just buying stuff for stuff's sake. I've got to say though, all the time, I mean, I know some of you have said you shouldn't have spent time sorting all the pens and pencils out, you should just get rid of them all. But like I said, there are some really good ones that we use on a regular basis, so I can't just get rid of all of those. But how long it's taken me. It's taken me so long to do that, and you think there's so many other things that I need to do in the house, don't they? And you're right, a couple of you have said you need a week off from work where your daughter's at school, your husband's at work, and just go through as much as possible. You're probably right, I do. The good thing is, though, about my work, you know, all the changes with my contract, the good thing is I definitely think I'm going to be doing less work, because now, although I've committed to what works out to be 2 days for my second job, I can do that as and when it fits around my learners and my life. So, for example, I could choose to work all day Tuesday, Thursday evening, and Monday evening. And as long as that all adds up to the 2 days, that's allowed. Or I could one week, I could work a Monday and Tuesday and a Thursday evening, and then the next week I could just work a Tuesday. So it's flexible like that. I was also asked whether I wanted a term time contract, and I've decided against that because I think that would be hard, because that would mean some of my learners wouldn't have any contact with me for 6 weeks. And I think that's not great for learners and learning, you know, in education. So I opted not to do that. So I think it's good just to keep in touch with people, and I'm supposed to meet with them monthly. But it's so flexible, whereas what was happening before my holiday, some weeks I was doing 24 hours. Well, now if I do 24 hours, that's fine. But then the week after, I can do 10 hours less. So I think that's going to be a great benefit to me. Anyway, I have talked enough, so I hope you're all very well. If you haven't told me before where you're from, as many of you know, I love hearing where you're from, what county you're in, what parts of Australia or wherever you're from. I love to hear where you're from. It's always good to know about that, and always good to hear your ideas, because I know lots of you are 1 step ahead of me, 20 steps ahead of me on this decluttering and sorting journey. So I look forward to seeing you in the next video.